Okay, so everybody, today I want to prove my opinion to have some truth to it on the S12, S12 Pro, and the Z12. That is, I have strong feelings about the subjective experience that I'm getting between the three, despite whatever they may look like on paper as similar, despite how, people who look at graphs tremendously as a way to try to determine what they should think about something. This is kind of my argument in this video, not just for what I think about these products, but any products that we keep seeing graphical analysis brewing over, okay? We have this tendency in our community to look at graphs and look at a few dB differences as insignificant. As long as the line looks like it's an overlay. If the bass looks the same, if the mids look the same, if the trebles look basically the same, except one spot that's different from a few dB, maybe a couple spots, it's usually a couple spots that add up to something more significant to me, then we have a way of dismissing the differences or poo-pooing, quite honestly, the company behind the product, making poor assumptions about their integrity, et cetera, et cetera. And I want us to get a little bit away from that. I think it's not healthy because I think if we're honest with ourselves about how it actually sounds in our ears, we can notice these differences. I think we're giving ourselves too little credit as human beings here. I really do. And my whole case today is going to try to prove that. Particularly listen to the S12 Pro today, okay? Go back to this track if you need to. Listen to the hi-hats. Listen to how the general cohesion of sound, the tastefulness of how things are tuned with respect to each other within the response. And you tell me you can't hear a timbre difference. The S12, look at the graphs. Look at the S12 Pro on paper. Look at the Z12 on paper, on a graph, which I never do, but I did halfway through editing because I was like, they sound so different to each other to me. Like there's a funk in something, and I'm not going to give away just yet what that funk is, where. I want to see if you can hear what I'm hearing without me saying it yet. But if you just look at the graphs, you could easily dismiss the credible thought that does occur that something sounds off, that something sounds more than just a little different subjectively. Objectively, it might be a few dB. Subjectively, that 2 or 3 dB in this spot and that spot, not a big deal on paper, makes a big difference with how we feel. Okay, my whole argument is that today, please bear with me, I'm going to play the tracks a little longer this time because once I release this review on the S12 series, I'm not going to revisit it that much except to sample the bits for other IEMs, all right? This review is going to stay out there for whatever time, so I want it to be timeless, so to speak. We're going to take our time today to listen to everything.
Sometimes I feel like I don't have a partner. Sometimes I feel like my only friend is the city I live in, the city of angel. Lonely as I am, together we cry. Drive on the streets 'cause she's my companion. I walk through the hills 'cause she knows who I am. She sees my good deeds and she kisses me windy. And I never worry, now that is a lie.
Okay, to be very honest with everybody, I've had 2 6-minute takes in a row right now where I got pretty heated. And the fact that the takes were 6 minutes long makes me rethink my decisions. We need to keep things rolling a little bit. The Z12 and S12 Pro are on paper. And I usually never look at the paper, okay? I usually never look at the graphs because I like really just telling you how something sounds in my ear, which makes the most intuitive sense to me, honestly. I'm not basing my commentary on the demos directly. I'm basing them on my actual experiences. And then the demos are just like my reference point for you in this style, in this format of a review channel. Those are my reference points. I don't usually look at graphs because it just doesn't necessarily have to fit in the course of such a style of reviewing and discussing things with you. Like I can point and I can to a demo, I can be like, do you hear that sound? Yeah, I got that too when I listened to it in my ears. At least I thought I did. I don't know what other reviewers or people think necessarily, but that's my feeling. Did you capture my feeling there? Like that's how I communicate here. But I couldn't help myself. Halfway through the editing process, I heard such a funk and such a difference between the gear here that I couldn't help myself. I wanted to see what the graph said from other people who measured it. I ended up graphing it myself after a certain discussion with other people online, but of what my units were measured at. They matched other people's onlines, fair enough. And I looked at other people's headlines, other reviewers' takes, and I skimmed through a little bit to hear their commentary if the headline didn't make it clear what they thought. And I just found out that, like, wow, everybody seems to really like the Z12 as much as the S12 Pro or S12, like kind of sort of considering the whole lot of them similar in general enjoyment. And I'm scratching my head like I just don't hear that similarity. The S12 is so different than the S12 Pro. The S12 had this bright and very bright sound, but still like relatively smooth compared to other products I've heard in the past for sure. But it's still pretty good for what it's trying to do. But then the S12 Pro comes along, and it has a much decidedly smoother effect. And after the fact, I looked at the graphs, and I was like, I guess where could I see that in the graph? Well, there seems to be a 2 to 3K bump on the original S12 Pro. The original S12 compared to the S12 Pro. So maybe that upper end brilliance between 2 kilohertz and 3 kilohertz could explain that part. Or maybe it's a little bit, and I read up at the graph and I see the upper treble has maybe something. I'm like, okay, maybe that explains it. But then I go to but none of the graphical analysis really matters because at the end of the day, I'm here listening with my ears, and I'm just going to tell you, like, it sounds qualitatively like the S12 is brighter and a little edgier. The S12 Pro, however, is smooth and easy, and yet still detail rich, or rather not rich, but like detail giving and clear sounding. And then you go to the Z12. Now here's the funny bit. This is where the Z12 on paper looks exactly the same as the S12 Pro in more places than the S12 does compared to the S12 Pro. So the Z12 and the S12 Pro are these two what could look like twins on paper. And this is what I took like 6 minutes, and I'm getting into 6 minutes again. But we're just going to do it because I guess that's what my opinions keep yielding here. Just because something on paper looks similar does not mean it sounds the same. I mean, like, feel free to go back right now or wait till the next clip after I'm done ranting. And you tell me you don't hear a funk in the Z12. I really do. I hear the hi-hats. I hear how anything living in the upper end sounds with respect to one another, where the hi-hats dripping off harmonics play with its pure tone, with its primary tone. The way that the male vocals do such a thing. Like, there's you can't put your finger on it exactly on paper so easy. This is why graphical analysis on its own, without having actually heard the thing, can be extremely difficult. And I'm speaking to everyone in the community right now about this. This is, this is what it is. This is what this has become, this rant. We are in a toxic state right now. Wow, I usually don't get this heated, but we are. I've seen enough of it. I'm like done with seeing it in the community. We're doing it too much. It's unhealthy for us and everyone entering the hobby, and it's unhealthy for our relationship, I think, too, with manufacturers, if we're honest with ourselves. Manufacturers release the S12 Pro and the Z12 with a few dB only difference, maybe 1 to 2, 2 to 3 in certain spots, at most, and it otherwise looks very similar. And I have seen countless points anyway now that seem to say that they are supposed to be the same, because on paper they are. You know what? I don't care that the two look the same on paper. I'm going to tell you how I feel. The S12 Pro is smooth, it's enjoyable, it's classy, it's polished, it's done extremely tastefully well. It's my favorite amongst the three. This could almost be my conclusion, this whole clip right here, conclusion early. We're going to maybe title it that. But the Z12 has a funk, and it's only owed to those couple small, albeit small, but important spots. This is why also making a target could be hard. The devil really lies in the details. It really does. The small 2 dB differences add up, especially if there's more than one spot. So I have no problem saying the S12 Pro is my favorite amongst the three. I think it's the best one done. The Z12, however, is funky. The timbre is off to my ear. It's not as tastefully executed. I mean nothing against the people personally who put their effort, I'm sure their hard effort, into designing and collaborating amongst different people. You know, it was Z12. I looked into it. It's Z Reviews. It was his first collaboration, if I'm not mistaken. And he's usually a headphone guy. And I think that guy's just trying to have fun with it. I'd have no hate for the guy. I actually only love. I really think he's just a chill dude doing his thing. And he's just trying to comment from his feelings. More than anyone else, I feel like he's pure feelings. And some people think that he's just hyping things for the sake of shilling. I don't know about all of that. But I know my gut where I see another human being trying their best in this review game. And I think his feelings are true. I think they are. I think he's just kinder to products than sometimes we are as a community. But I'm very picky. I can't help it. And the Z12 release is not tasteful for my taste. But maybe it's tasteful for yours. I don't know. Okay, none of this is meant to be an attack on people's tastes, but rather the attack on how we are going about conducting ourselves with predicting sounds and judging sounds prematurely based only on graphs and misunderstanding the significance, underestimating the significance that I believe is really there with a couple dB here and there. Let's keep listening. I'm going to breathe and maybe meditate on this next one. Maybe I'll cut out some extra tracks. I'm going to let most of this just be you. This is going to be different today. We're just going to listen, see for yourself, explore the sound as I've cut it, and I'm going to say less for the rest of this video. Thank you.
Now here you go again, you say you want your freedom.
let's keep it going. Letting the music speak for itself a little bit here. Hopefully you guys feel like you get a read on what I'm getting at through it. All right, here we are again. But now I've just finished measuring. Just finished measuring the Z12 and the S12 Pro in my couplers, standard 711s, as people call them. We're taking a little field trip today to the recording spot. And it just snaps right on. I love that. So I did my own measurements up on screen now or so if they haven't already been. And I just want to talk a little bit through them. I don't like usually sharing my opinions through measurements. I never point them out explicitly. But in this discussion of like where even small differences in measurements can mean a big difference in feeling, I want to make this point very clear. If we look at either my graph, which only shows, like if you really look closely at how big those gaps are, they're only on that y-axis about 2 bars at most tall, right? Which is about 2 dB. Each little bar, each row is 1 decibel. So at most, maybe at around 2.5 kilohertz, we can see there's this separation of 2 dB, maybe a little bit bigger at the 9 kilohertz spot, 8.75, something like that. We see a couple dB difference measured on mine. Interesting, we don't see that on BGGARs. And that could be simple differences in seal that we are able to both perform. Maybe we have foam variations in what we use in our couplers, or maybe there's some variance in the couplers in the way they're built. Possibly the units, or maybe these couplers are just not always super treble accurate once you get high enough. It's hard to say for sure what the inconsistency is there. Maybe mine doesn't peak as much if I fail to have a proper seal, just happenstance with how the foam happened to be expanding in the coupler or something. I don't know what would exactly cause that. I don't know. But by and large, what we're seeing is that in either case, whether you're looking at BGGARs or mine, you only see, and this is my whole point here, about 2 decibels difference at most, maybe 1 dB at other small throughout much of the response actually. So 1 to 1.5, maybe average 1.5 throughout that spot difference. If you were to average like those differences overall, nothing exceeding more than 2 or 3 dB, 2.1, something if you want to be exact. And yet we go around saying, let's go back to the ears now, because that's what really all of this is, what it all comes down to, and what should matter ultimately in terms of our judgments, in terms of what we share with each other, in terms of what we say, in terms of what we feel when we go into our music, expecting something or not. Hopefully, maybe not too much. We don't want to be placeboed or primed. If you just go in with your ears and you just listen, you hear this funk and you hear big differences. Or whether or not you even want to call it a funk. If you disagree with me, if you like the sound of the Z12, you hear a big difference. It's just there. The relative difference is perceptible on those things, on those measurements. There was the same that you heard essentially the same you heard in the demo. There is a relative difference that is quite audible. So if anybody's going to say they're not a big difference, either we have different units shipped to us, which is honestly, we shouldn't be left holding the bag. The consumer and the reviewer should not have to pay in terms of our judgment of the company or any credibility of them. And we should not pay out of our pocket because we got shipped different units, okay? The company has to take all credibility for that. So I'm going to make my judgment on whatever the company sent me, and that's it, all right? But I have a sneaking suspicion, though, based on those measurements alone even, I don't know how much variance there's going to be between units anyway. Nothing that could be explained with those treble differences by potential rig measuring inconsistencies between reviewers. I doubt, I'm skeptical that it's the company sending different units here. I believe the Z12 really is a different sounding unit. And it doesn't even matter if it's the same kind of unit or not, or if it sounds different than other reviewers. The fact that a lot of people say it sounds so similar is befuddling to me, because even those measurements showing 2 dB gap in some areas makes a profound subjective difference. It sounds different, okay? Let's keep going. All right. I'm done ranting. I know. I've had an impassioned plea about my points for how we can make a more nuanced commentary with each other and a more, nuanced understanding of the relationship between what we're measuring and what we're experiencing. And it's not pointing a finger at any one person. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to make an impassioned plea from a position of a certain opinion of how it can be. If that comes off as abrasive or offensive or incendiary towards anyone in this hobby, I really hope they don't take it as such. I imagine all the reviewers could sit around in a chill place if only we lived in person and just talk over the gear. I could imagine it. Could you imagine like a table with a bunch of the IEMs in the center and we just like have our own? Obviously, we wouldn't share too much. I guess we all have our own. We bring our own in our own boxes or something and just like listen to it and like chit chat just live. I mean, we could do that in person, not in person. We could do that for real in person streaming. We could do that in real time with each other. That would be something. It'd be very time consuming to listen to so much. Because it takes time to listen, and who has the coordination with our different schedules? It's like 12 hours difference between each of us. It's, the obstacles that obfuscate these conversations and have us misjudge and mischaracterize everything about each other. And there's so much coming out all the time. There's a pressurized system in which there's all this energy between us in this community that keeps funneling towards assumptions, poor in their negativity and their lack of experiential backing and humbleness to realize when our own, and I have to certainly be humble all the time to myself, or at least have that as a goal in my mind to try to stop and reflect about what judgments I'm making or whatever, and how many times have I misspoken, misrepresented what I would have intended to want to be in the conversation. Well, this whole video is a journal entry, isn't it? I keep thinking I'm going to be moving on. To those of you who stuck with me, thank you. I appreciate you, really. We're going to try to incorporate some other stuff now. I want to incorporate the Heyday. I want to see how its timbre, its approach to this stuff fares subjectively against everything else. It's quite a departure. And let's put back in the MP145, the Dioko, and let's just mix it all up again. Let's see how my favorites so far, the S12 Pro and the S12 as a sort of different second place. I don't really enjoy it so much. It's a little more abrasive with its approach. I really dig the S12 Pro so far. Super smooth, super clean. Really nice. Really nice. Let's compare it against the other favorites.
Standing inside a world of pain that needs healing. I am only dreaming. Take me to a place where seeing is believing. Tell me that I'm only dreaming. Can someone take away this feeling? Feels like I am barely breathing. Come and save me. Tell me that I'm only dreaming. Everything around me spinning. Need someone to wake me up before it's too late. Tell me that I'm only dreaming. Can someone take away this feeling? Tell me that I'm only dreaming.
It's funny. I've said so little about the music in this video directly, and yet I feel as if I've said more in this video about the music than I usually ever do. I want to share my conclusions on the other competition. My conclusion about these three, S12, S12 Pro, Z12, and my thoughts therein were at the start of the video. S12 Pro was my favorite. S12 is a different sound. Maybe I haven't said too much about that explicitly, and maybe I could have. Maybe I should now. The S12 is a different timbre. It's a different upper end treatment. It's a different relative balance amongst those frequencies and where it bops up and down. So it has less to share with the character of the S12 Pro than the Z12 does. The Z12 does sound similar, more similar in that character in the upper end to the Z12 Pro than the S12 does to the Z12 Pro. Man, I've been talking so much my throat's almost, maybe it's the takes I'm doing. I'm a teacher half the week, so my voice is also strained from that. But the S12 is interesting. The S12 has a openness, a clarity to it that the others step away from a tad. But you know what? I think it was a clarity that did come with that price of upper mids feeling just a bit too pumped in your face. I think we can see also from graphs, if you want to check them online from others. I did one, but I'm not going to show it right here. About 2 to 3 kilohertz, it seems that there is a large bump there on the S12, on anyone's measurements, and above the S12 Pro. And that would explain what we're probably hearing with that brighter, clearer nature. 2 to 3 kilohertz has a brightness to it of its own flavor, just like every other range has its own flavor. I mean, I could sit here and I could probably break down each range and how it sounds with just how it edges differently with a demo accompanying me to help highlight those differences. But I'm not going to get I don't like to usually talk to like that exactly. I enjoy it very much in the community forums, but in the video, I like to stay to the feeling of what I just experience raw and not have to couch it constantly and everything else. It just takes a lot of time, honestly, and it's just not my flow. It's a stylistic choice, but it also says something too about my stance on how to express myself usually, which is via just the feel of the thing, the feel of the music itself, of the IEM differences. Even if I use subjective phrasing, I know it relates to quantitative sections of the graph. Guys, we can bridge the quantitative and the qualitative. I'm sorry, this is going to be another rant if I'm not careful. I'll save it for the forums and the Discord. Join me on Discord if you want to. So this S12 Pro is I'm talking a lot this time, I know, but I'm not cutting any of it. So I think I want it all to be seen and known. I don't like to cut in general anyway. The S12 is not my preferred cup of tea. I prefer the S12 Pro. I like its smoothness. I like its way of delivering clarity, but while maintaining a certain lusciousness in the low end. It has nice male vocals on the low end. It has nice strumming. It's not the same depth and a sheer amount, really, as something like the MP145, but that's okay. It's doing something different. I think I could fairly say I love them both for those different reasons. For the depths at which the MP145 reaches low and offers that experience, which can be enjoyable, if not a little fatiguing, if you have it for too long. The S12 Pro is known instead to me for it's loved instead to me for its less luscious, but still luscious enough, more than the S12 base model. And the S12 just it feels suddenly like it's lacking. The S12 Pro does seem like the right step for the S12 line. The Z12, however, maintains that funk. Well, I said I was just going to talk about the other stuff, but I'm just talking about it all because that's where life is taking me right now. Sorry, I'm feeling the heat in today's video. I need to like really meditate after this or something. I should. Yeah, the Z12. It's not just the 8 kilohertz bump, and which is only 2 dB anyway different. It's the whole 2 dB difference across the range, across the upper range, and it's very audible. And it's what I measured. So if you say 2 dB doesn't make that much of a difference, that was the difference. You heard it for yourself. I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm not a fan. It's in my, I'm not listening to it kind of tab on my rankings list, my wall of joy. Check link in the description. I do need to calm. I do. The Heyday is a nice balanced set, but it's a totally different approach to tuning, and that's its own prerogative. And for the people who like that style, it is very enjoyable for what it's trying to do. I don't find anything terribly wrong with the Heyday. It's not my personal best ethereal feeling I get in female vocals. It's not the best luscious low end that I could ideally get. I would tweak it just a little bit, but it's so close in so many ways to what would be my personal ideal. I could very quickly see how a lot of people would enjoy it for their personal ideal. It's not so far off of what I could detect, even from my vantage, which thinks it's just very okay. Like, I do enjoy it personally, but I don't suppose I love it personally. But I can see the love. I can hear it. I could EQ that a tiny bit and probably fall in love with it, actually. And the MP145, the Dioko, I'm going to leave you with some more clips yourself to make some further decisions on those. I think this has been enough for today. I'm going to see how this video lands with everybody. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.